The battlefield was cold and broken. Captain Myra stood in the middle of the ruined outpost on planet Delta 9. Smoke still rose from the burned-out metal walls. The air smelled of ash, blood, and fuel. Bodies of soldiers, both human and alien, lay still on the ground. But Myra only saw one thing. Kale. He was lying in her arms, blood pouring from his side. His breathing was shallow, and his eyes were slowly closing. "I told you not to run ahead," Myra whispered, holding him tighter. "Why did you do it?" Kale smiled weakly. "You're the captain. I follow your lead. I just wanted to make sure you lived." "You idiot," she said, tears running down her face. The alien raiders had attacked without warning. Myra's squad had been trapped. Kale was the one who broke through enemy lines and cleared a path. He had taken the blasts meant for her. He had saved them all. But the cost was too high. His body grew colder. His hand slipped from hers. His eyes didn't blink anymore. Kale was gone. 2 years passed. Myra stood inside a new command ship called Vigilant Dawn. Her uniform was sharper now, her hair shorter, her eyes colder. She had become one of the most feared strike captains in the Earth Alliance. People called her Iron Myra. They didn't know the name Kale. She never spoke of him, but inside she still remembered everything, every word he said, every time he smiled. The way he died in her arms. Now, Myra led missions across enemy lines. She didn't wait for orders. She found threats and crushed them before they could grow. The galaxy was dangerous. Earth had many enemies: pirates, alien raiders, old empires, hidden syndicates. Myra had no time for emotion, no time for weakness, but one mission changed everything. The order came from High Command: investigate strange activity near the edge of Sector 17. An unknown force had taken over a former Earth outpost, Outpost Hades. It had been abandoned for years. Now it showed signs of life, power readings, and strange transmissions. Myra didn't wait. She took her best soldiers and jumped to the coordinates. As soon as they arrived, scanners picked up strange signals. Not alien, not human. Something in between. Send the drones, Myra ordered. 3 scout drones flew toward the outpost. The feed showed the area was active. Ships docked. Guards patrolling. Not Earth Alliance, not a known alien faction. Something new. Get ready to drop, Myra said. We go silent, no mercy. The dropship opened its doors. Myra and her team jumped down to the surface, landing in the shadows. Their armor blended with the dark. They moved quickly, taking out guards and planting charges. It was going smoothly until they reached the central command room. The door opened, and there he was. Kale. Myra froze. He stood in black armor, looking straight at her. His face had a scar. His hair was shorter, his eyes were colder. But it was him. Kale. Alive. He didn't raise a weapon, he didn't run. He simply said her name, Myra. The sound of his voice made her heart stop. Her team raised their rifles. Captain, it's him, it's Kale. But Myra couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. Kale took one slow step forward. His voice was calm. You're not supposed to be here. You need to leave now. Her second-in-command, Roan, shouted, Captain, what are your orders? He's working with the enemy. Still, Myra said nothing. Kale looked into her eyes. There's more going on than you know. I'll explain everything, but not here. You have to trust me. Roan moved beside her. Ma'am, what do we do? Myra stared at the man she had buried in her memory, the man she cried for. The man she loved. Now he was standing in front of her, wearing enemy armor, speaking in calm words, and she didn't know if he was still her Kale or a ghost wearing his face. Fall back, Myra finally said. What? Roan looked shocked. But, I said fall back, she repeated. Louder. The team obeyed, though confused. They placed a tracker beacon in the room and began pulling out. Kale didn't stop them. He just watched Myra, and Myra looked back, her heart racing. Was it really him? Or was this some cruel trick? Back on the ship, the crew was silent. No one spoke. For a long time. The commander of the fleet sent a direct message. Why did you pull back? Myra didn't answer. She stood in her private quarters, holding a photo from years ago. It showed her and Cale Young smiling, full of life. It felt like a different world. She looked into the mirror. Her eyes, once filled with fire, were now filled with questions. He had died in her arms. She had felt his last breath, but now he was back, and Myra wasn't sure if her mind was playing tricks, or if something much bigger was happening. One thing was clear: she couldn't strike him, not until she knew the truth. Captain Myra couldn't sleep. Her thoughts were loud, and the room was quiet. She kept replaying the moment again and again in her mind. Cale standing in that control room, alive, calm, and dressed in enemy armor. He had said her name like nothing had happened. Like 2 years hadn't passed since he died in her arms. Myra sat on the edge of her bed inside Vigilant Dawn. The stars outside the window blinked slowly as the ship drifted in stealth mode near the surface of Delta 9. The outpost was still there, and Cale was still inside it. She had to know the truth. In the briefing room, her team was waiting. Lieutenant Roan stood up. "Captain, we need answers." That was Cale, but he's working with them now. "We should treat him like a threat." Myra looked at the faces around her. Most of the soldiers had served with Cale before. They all had questions. Some were angry, some were confused. But all of them were looking to her for a decision. "We don't know the full story yet," Myra said, her voice steady. "He saved us once." "That hasn't changed. I'm going in alone." Everyone turned quiet. Roan stepped forward. "Ma'am, that's too dangerous. He's part of their chain now. You saw what he was wearing." "I saw someone I buried," Myra replied. "And he looked me in the eyes. That wasn't a stranger. That was Cale." She paused and looked at Roan. "He said he would explain everything. I'm giving him one chance." Roan didn't argue again. He simply nodded. "We'll be standing by. If anything goes wrong, we'll extract you." Later that night, Myra wore a stealth suit and used a single-man flyer to reach the edge of the outpost. It was quiet, too quiet. She walked through the broken gates of Outpost Hades. The walls were patched with strange new metal, and energy lines pulsed with green and white light, definitely not Earth tech. Yet everything seemed controlled, clean, and rebuilt. Then she saw him. Cale. He stood alone near the old command center. His helmet was off, showing his face clearly. No scars now. Just a man who looked like someone back from the dead. Myra raised her rifle halfway but didn't aim. "Talk," she said sharply. "You died in my arms. I buried you in my memories. What is this? A trick? A clone?" Cale didn't move. "It's really me, Myra. I never died. I was taken." "By who?" Cale took a breath. "A rogue alien faction. They call themselves the Scifi. They're not part of any known alliance. They saved me, rebuilt me." Myra's eyes narrowed. "Rebuilt?" Cale stepped closer. "When the blast hit me, I wasn't dead, just nearly gone. The Scifi arrived after the battle. They have advanced medical nanotech. It kept me alive, but they did more than heal me. They changed me." Myra's heart beat faster. "Changed how?" Cale showed her his hand. The skin shifted for a second, like it was metal and skin at the same time. Then it returned to normal. "I'm still me," he said quietly. "But I'm also different, faster, stronger, not fully human anymore." Myra lowered her rifle slowly. "Why didn't you come back?" Cale looked at the stars above them. "I tried, but the Scifi showed me something. A danger that's coming, one that makes our wars look like nothing. A force called the Hollow Reach. They devour stars. Whole systems vanish when they pass through. The Scifi have been fighting them in the shadows." Myra crossed her arms. "And you just joined them?" "No," Cale said. "I chose to learn. To help. Earth doesn't know what's coming. The Alliance won't believe it without proof." He looked at her with steady eyes. "That's why I need your help." Back on Vigilant Dawn, Myra stared at the report she was supposed to send to command. She couldn't send it, not yet. If she told them the truth that Cale was alive and working with a secret alien faction, they'd launch an immediate strike. They'd label him a traitor, capture, or kill. No questions, but Myra had questions. And more than that, she had instincts. Cale had always been a soldier of honor. He saved lives. He had saved hers. She remembered the last time they stood together before the ambush 2 years ago. He had smiled and said, "If anything happens to me, you take command. You protect the team, no matter what." He hadn't asked her to mourn. He had trusted her to lead Dot. Now he was asking her to trust him. The next morning, Myra called her team. "We're not reporting this to command yet," she said firmly. "We're going back to the outpost. I want every piece of data they have. If Kale is telling the truth, we need to see it ourselves." Roan frowned. "And if it's a trap? Then we fight," Myra said. "But we don't shoot first, not this time." The soldiers nodded, though some were clearly nervous. They had followed Myra through many battles. This was different. This was personal. Inside the outpost, Kale opened the vault. It was a large chamber filled with alien tech. Holograms floated in the air systems, maps, star charts. One of them showed a red cloud moving across space like a virus, eating everything in its path. "That's the Hollow Reach," Kale said. "They've already swallowed 5 systems." "Nothing survived." Myra stepped closer. "Why hasn't Earth heard of this?" "They don't leave survivors. No distress calls, no warnings, just silence." Kale activated another display. It showed Earth, with a slow-moving red wave heading toward it. "They're coming." Myra stared at the map, her mind racing. This wasn't just about him anymore. It wasn't just about the past. It was about what came next. And if Kale was telling the truth, then Earth was running out of time. The red wave on the map didn't move fast, but it didn't stop either. Captain. Myra stared at the star chart inside the Sirith outpost. One by one, systems were marked in black dead. The Hollow Reach, as Kale called it, was not an army. It was something worse. Something that consumed everything. Planets, stations, life, gone. Myra's chest tightened. She had seen many threats in her career: pirates, warlords, even planet killers. But this was different. It was silent. It left. No messages, no bodies, no signs, just nothing. Kale stood beside her. "They don't talk? They don't offer peace? They don't even seem to care what we are. They just erase." Myra turned to face him. "And no one else knows?" "Only a few," Kale said. "The Sirith tried to warn others, but no one believed them. Some called it a lie. Some called it fear tactics. A few tried to fight. They vanished." Myra clenched her jaw. "Why should I believe you?" Kale didn't flinch. "You don't have to. But you know I wouldn't come back unless it was real. I stayed hidden because I needed proof. Now I have it. And I need your help." Back aboard Vigilant Dawn, Myra reviewed the Sirith files. Thousands of logs. Battles lost. Ships torn apart. Black holes appearing after Hollow Reach waves. It didn't behave like normal enemies. It didn't even act like a species. Roan entered her quarters. "Captain," he said, "the crew is nervous. Some think you're hiding too much. They're starting to talk." Myra stood and faced him. "Are you one of them?" Roan shook his head. "No, ma'am. But I need to know, what is Kale? He looks like us, sounds like US, but he's not all human anymore." Myra thought for a long moment. He was nearly dead. The Sirith used something like nanotech to fix him. His body is changed, but his heart? His mind? She looked down. "That's still Kale. I feel it." Roan lowered his voice. "And if you're wrong?" Myra didn't answer, because deep inside, even she wasn't fully sure. Later that day, Myra and Kale sat in the war room. She watched as Kale pulled up a new map. It showed a hidden Sirith station deep inside a nearby asteroid field. "They've been gathering more data here," he said. "If we can reach it, we'll have solid evidence, video, scans, maybe even tech samples. It's what command would need to believe this." Myra raised an eyebrow. "And they'll just let us walk in?" "They trust me," Kale said. "But if you come, you'll need to leave the soldiers behind? Just you and me?" Myra leaned back in her chair. "Sounds like a trap." Kale's eyes met hers. "If I wanted to trap you, I would have done it already." Silence hung between them. Myra finally stood up. "Fine, we go. But if anything feels wrong, I walk out?" Kale nodded. "Understood." The next day, Myra joined Kale aboard a small Cirith scout vessel. It was smooth, silent, and fast. The controls weren't like any human ship. Kale sat at the front, piloting with a strange holographic ring around his hand. The stars rushed past them. For the first time in 2 years, they were alone, just the two of them. Myra leaned against the wall. So, how much of you is still you? Kale smiled slightly. Good question. My body heals faster now. I can see things others can't. I don't sleep much. But my memories, my thoughts, they're still mine. He looked over his shoulder. I still remember everything. The night we hid from raiders under that broken moon. The way you laughed. When I dropped my rifle in the mud. The time you yelled at me for saving that alien child, Myra chuckled softly. You nearly got us both shot, Kale grinned. Worth it. The ship flew deeper into the asteroid belt, despite the danger. For a short time it felt like old times. Finally, they reached the Cirith station. It was hidden inside a hollow asteroid. From the outside it looked like a rock. But inside it was full of glowing lights and humming energy. Alien figures moved quietly, all in dark robes with pale skin and glowing eyes. They didn't speak to Myra, but they nodded to Kale with respect. He led her to a chamber filled with floating orbs and memory crystals. This is it, he said. The Cirith record everything? You'll find logs here of destroyed fleets, sensor. Scans, even hollow reach encounters. Myra walked through the chamber slowly. Each orb held a different memory flashes of stars, battles, empty planets. She placed her hand on one and a vision came alive. A planet with blue oceans. Peaceful. Then darkness, a red wave, a scream, then silence. The planet was gone. Her hand dropped from the orb. This is real, she whispered. Kale walked closer. Now you understand. And this is what's coming. Back on the ship, Myra felt torn. She had everything now. Proof of a threat beyond anything Earth had ever faced. But how could she tell her commanders? They'd ask how she got it. They'd demand Kale's arrest. They'd label the Cirith as enemies. And yet, doing nothing meant letting the hollow reach come closer. She stared at the stars from the window. Kale stepped beside her. We can still stop it, but we need to act now. Earth must prepare. Myra nodded slowly. We'll need all eyes. Strong ones. Kale looked at her. Then we'll find them. Together. Myra turned to him, her voice quiet. You came back. Kale smiled. I said I would. I just didn't expect it to take this long. They stood in silence for a moment, memories between them, the future ahead of them. Later, as they returned to Vigilant Dawn, Myra sent a coded message to her trusted contacts on Earth. Unknown threat confirmed. Coming soon. Evidence collected. Prepare defenses. Trust no one. The war she thought was over had only just begun. And this time, it wasn't about politics or power. It was about survival. Captain Myra stood on the bridge of Vigilant Dawn, watching the stars pass by. The silence of space felt heavier than ever. The proof they had gathered at the Cirith station was real and terrifying. The hollow reach was coming closer. It was not a myth, not a legend, but a deadly force that could wipe out entire systems. Myra knew her next steps would change everything back on Earth. The message she sent had stirred things up quickly. Her trusted contacts called her at once. Admiral. Cole's voice was firm but cautious. Myra, what exactly are you dealing with? Your message was cryptic. Myra took a deep breath. Admiral, I'm not sure how to explain it all yet. But there is a force moving through space. It destroys everything in its path. We have evidence from an alien faction called the Cirith. There was silence on the line. Cole finally said, Cirith? They are not part of our known alliances. How can we trust this? They have proof, Myra said. Video, sensor data, entire planets gone. And my old team member Kale is with them now. Kale? The name made the Admiral pause. I thought he was dead. He was, Myra said quietly. But he came back changed. And he's right about the threat, Cole sighed. This is going to cause panic. I'll arrange a private briefing with the Council. But Captain, you must prepare for pushback. Myra knew it wouldn't be easy. At the secret briefing, the room was tense. Leaders from Earth's military, intelligence, and science sectors gathered. She laid out the data clearly. This is not a threat we can fight with ships alone, she sighed. The Hollow Reach isn't a normal enemy. It's a force of destruction. It moves silently, erases entire systems. One council member, a stern woman named Senator Valen, stood up. Captain, why should we believe this? The Sirith have never allied with us. They are outsiders. Myra met her gaze. Because I saw the proof. And because I know the man who brought it to us. The room was silent. Another voice spoke. What about Kale? If he's alive and changed, how can we trust him? Myra's heart tightened. Kale is not perfect, but he is honest. He's risking everything to warn us. Outside the meeting, rumors spread fast. Some called Myra a liar. Others whispered she was working with aliens. Fear grew. Her crew on Vigilant Dawn felt the pressure too. Roan pulled Myra aside. Captain, the crew's morale is falling. Some say they don't want to fight a ghost war, Myra nodded. We have to be ready. The Hollow Reach doesn't care about fears. It will come whether we are ready or not. Meanwhile, Kale trained with the soldiers. His new body gave him speed and strength beyond normal humans. But his memories of Earth, and especially of Myra, stayed strong. One day a young recruit asked him, what was it like? Being dead and coming back? Kale smiled faintly. It's like waking up in a dream where everything is strange. But then you remember who you are, what you fight for. The recruit nodded slowly. I wish I had your courage. Kale looked at the stars outside. Courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about moving forward anyway. Back at the command center, Myra received a call. Captain, sensors have picked up something unusual near the asteroid belt, a technician reported. It looks like energy signatures, moving fast. Myra's heart raced. Could it be the Hollow Reach? We don't know yet, ma'am. But we're tracking it. She exchanged a look with Kale, who was standing behind her. We need to. Prepare, Kale said. This might be the first sign. That night, Vigilant Dawn entered high alert. The crew moved with purpose. But tension was thick. Myra walked the halls, greeting each soldier. We don't know what's coming, she said quietly, but we know we will face it together. Suddenly the alarms blared. Energy spike detected. Object approaching fast. The warning echoed. Myra rushed to the bridge. On the main screen, a strange shape appeared. It wasn't a ship. It was a wave of shimmering light, changing form, swallowing the stars behind it. The Hollow Reach was here. Kale's eyes narrowed. This is no enemy we fought before. It doesn't reason or surrender, it just consumes. Myra gripped the console. We have to protect the fleet. Prepare. Weapons, shields, everything we have. The Vigilant Dawn moved to intercept. The crew fired pulses of energy, but the wave absorbed everything. Ships began to vanish. The fear that had been growing exploded into terror. Myra stood firm. No giving up, she shouted. We fight for Earth, for everyone. Kale joined her, his new strength clear. Together, they coordinated the defense. But the wave was relentless. It moved like a living storm. Faster than anything they had seen. Myra realized something. We can't win by force alone, she said. We need to understand it. Kale nodded. I've seen how it reacts to certain energy types. If we combine human tech and Sirith tech, maybe we can create a shield. Working quickly, they combined what they had. A new energy field formed around the fleet. The wave hit the shield and stopped. For a moment, silence. Then the wave pulled back, retreating into space. The crew cheered. Myra breathed deeply. They had won the first battle, but the war was far from over. In her quarters, Myra looked at Kale. You came back for a reason, she said softly. Now we have to save the future. Kale smiled. And we will, together. The silence after the battle was heavy. The Vigilant Dawn and its fleet floated in space, shielded but still tense. No one spoke much. Everyone waited, watching the empty darkness where the Hollow Reach had once surged. Captain Myra stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the starfield. This was not over. The enemy had retreated, but it would return. Kale joined her silently. His presence was calm, but firm. The changes in him were obvious, stronger, faster, but still very much the man. She had known we survived, Kale said softly. But only for now, Myra nodded. We need to be ready next time. We need a plan that works. Back on Earth, news of the battle leaked. People were afraid, but also hopeful. The military had stopped a wave of destruction, and the captain, who led the fleet, was a hero, but Myra knew the truth. This was only the beginning. She gathered her trusted team for a meeting. We need allies, she said. The Hollow Reach is too strong. Our technology alone will not save us. Roan, her second-in-command, asked, Where will we find help? The Sirith helped once, but they are not friends. They're mysterious, and some say they are dangerous. Kale answered, There are others out there. Other species who have fought the Hollow Reach. We need to find them. Myra looked around. Then that is our mission. We find allies. We learn how to fight together. The next weeks were a blur of travel and communication. The Vigilant Dawn crossed star systems, reaching out to distant worlds. Some responded with fear, some with hostility, but some listened. One was the Illyra, a species known for their wisdom and strong defense. Their ships were covered in bright blue shields, and their leaders welcomed Myra and her team. We have seen the wave, the Illyra ambassador said. It is a force of balance, but unkind to those who do not respect the universe. Myra listened carefully. Can you help us fight? The ambassador nodded slowly. We can share knowledge. But you must understand, this war is more than weapons. It is about harmony. You must change how you see the stars. While the diplomatic talks went on, Kale trained with soldiers from many worlds. His strange new body was an example of what could be done with Sirith technology. A young soldier asked, Will you become one of them? The Sirith? Kale smiled. No, I'm still me. But I carry what they gave me to protect others. He paused. Sometimes the line between enemy and friend is thin. We must be careful who we trust. On the Vigilant Dawn, Myra spent nights thinking about the man who died in her arms and came back. He was a mystery, a miracle, and maybe a warning. Could humanity survive if it had to change like Kale? She didn't know, but she was determined to try. Suddenly, during a meeting, the alarms blared again. Another wave detected. The officer shouted. Myra's heart pounded. Kale ran to the control panel. This one is different, faster, stronger. The fleet scrambled to form defenses. The wave rushed toward them, bigger than before. Myra stood tall. We fight. We protect. We survive. The battle was fierce. Ships fired everything they had. But this time the wave pulsed with strange energy. Breaking through their shields, Myra's ship shook as explosions rocked the hull. Hold steady! She shouted. Kale used his enhanced speed to move between stations, fixing systems and boosting weapons. Together, they led the fight. Just when hope seemed lost, the Illyra's ships arrived. Their blue shields flared. Pushing back the wave, the combined forces worked as one. The Hollow Reach wave slowed, weakened by the Alliance. At the end, the enemy withdrew. The stars were quiet again. Myra looked at Kale. We survived because we stood together. Kale nodded. This is only the start. We must be ready. Back on the bridge, Myra sent a message to Earth. Prepare for a new dawn. We fight not just for today, but for all tomorrow. The man who had died in her arms was back, and together they would face the future.